Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. A mark on concrete left by the outline of a person at the moment of the Hiroshima bombing. This visual record became a widely recognized symbol of the consequences of that historical event. Engineer Fred Leuchter was hired by the state of Tennessee to evaluate, modify, and update the electric chair used by the prison system. The work was part of a technical review process of equipment used to carry out capital sentences. Consequences of the San Francisco earthquake of 1906. The image shows part of the city after the event with damaged buildings and altered streets, recording the impact that marked the city's history and the region's reconstruction. Members of the maintenance crew carry out repairs on the Graf Zeppelin in flight over the South Atlantic after it had been damaged during a storm. The scene was recorded by Alfred Eisenstadt in 1934, showing the skill and courage required to work in extreme conditions aboard airships. An expedition vehicle crosses a crevasse in 1957. The image shows the equipment positioned precisely to overcome the obstacle, reflecting the challenges faced in scientific and geographic explorations of the time. A reinforced steel container designed to transport cats safely during bombings, United Kingdom, 1941. The equipment was created to protect pets in risky situations, especially during air raids in the period of the Second World War. On May 28, 1987, the German Matthias Rust, 18 years old, landed a Cessna 172B Skyhawk on Red Square in Moscow. The flight, carried out without official authorization, drew international attention and became one of the best-known episodes of civil aviation during the 1980s. Workers trimming the Great Green Wall, a yew hedge 36 feet high that surrounds Oakley Hall. The hedge was planted in 1720 by the first Earl of Bathurst and remains a notable example of historic landscaping in the United Kingdom. A house damaged during the civil conflict in Atlanta, Georgia in 1864. The image shows the structure partially destroyed, reflecting the impact of military operations in the region during that historical period of the United States. In 1942, during the Second World War, a Syrian bear named Wojtek was integrated into the Second Corps of the Polish Army. He was treated as a regular soldier, taking part in the unit's routine and helping with tasks such as carrying supplies. Edward Llewellyn, with the black sea bass that broke the world record weighing 425 pounds, caught at Santa Catalina Island, California. The feat became a milestone in sport fishing, drawing attention to the size of the fish and the skill required to catch it. Hillary Clinton listening while her husband denied involvement with Monica Lewinsky, United States, 1998. The scene was recorded during a moment of intense public attention and media coverage regarding the presidency of Bill Clinton. A zebra-drawn cart was used as a means of transport in Calcutta, India in the 1930s. The scene shows the vehicle next to cars of the time, highlighting the diversity of ways of getting around in the city during that historical period. Austrian boys show pure happiness after receiving new shoes during the Second World War. The image records a moment of simple joy amid the hardships of the period. Niagara Falls in 1903. The image shows the famous waterfall on the border between the United States and Canada, one of the most visited sites in North America. A grotto in an iceberg photographed by the British expedition on January 5, 1911. The image records the ice formation with an inner opening explored and documented during the mission, revealing the unique landscapes found in polar regions. Filming of The Wizard of Oz in 1939. The image shows part of the behind-the-scenes of the production of the classic film with crew and cast, working on scenes that would become known worldwide. Steve Jobs presenting the Apple II in 1977. The computer was one of the first successful models produced on a large scale for home use, helping to establish Apple as one of the leading technology companies in the world. Bruce Lee with his master Ip Man in the 1960s. The image records the famous martial artist next to the master who taught him the Wing Chun style, a Chinese martial art that deeply influenced his philosophy and fighting technique. Hirohito, Emperor of Japan from 1926 to 1989, visiting Disneyland during an official visit to the United States in 1975. The image records a leisure moment within a diplomatic schedule, showing the Japanese leader at one of the most famous parks in the world. A baby Al Pacino in a 1940 family photograph. The image shows the future actor in his parents' arms long before he became one of the most recognized figures in world cinema. New York during the blizzard of 1888. In a period of 3 days, 50 inches of snow fell with drifts that exceeded 40 feet in some places. Due to its intensity, the event became known as the Great Blizzard of 1888, marking the city's history for the impact it had on daily life and infrastructure. A turbine of Hoover Dam, 1933. The image shows part of the equipment installed during the construction of the dam, one of the largest engineering projects in the United States, designed for hydroelectric power generation and water control on the Colorado River. The opening of the Eiffel Tower during the 1889 Exposition Universelle, located in Paris, France. The structure was inaugurated as the centerpiece of the event, symbolizing innovation and advanced engineering for the time. The tower quickly became one of the most recognized landmarks in the world. A fallen statue at the Ramesseum in Thebes in 1857, the record shows part of the ruins of the funerary temple of Pharaoh Rameses II on the west bank of the Nile River in Egypt. The image documents the state of preservation of the place in the 19th century, a period when European archaeologists and explorers studied the region intensively. The first Civic Parade of Los Angeles, held on Independence Day on July 4, 1871. The celebration included residence bands and decorated carriages, marking one of the first large public festivities organized in the city. The Capilano Suspension Bridge, British Columbia, Canada, around 1919. The structure spans the Capilano River and is surrounded by dense forest, offering a high panoramic crossing. The record shows the bridge, in its early years, before the modernizations made during the 20th century. In 1902, a remarkable photograph recorded men posing on a huge log raft along the Columbia River in the state of Oregon. The image shows the impressive size of the structure and illustrates the importance of river transport in the timber industry of the time. A construction worker takes a break during the building of the Chrysler Building in New York in 1930. The scene shows a moment of rest amid the construction of one of the city's most iconic skyscrapers, a symbol of Art Deco architecture and urban growth at the time. Passengers listen to a broadcast aboard a ship at night in 1931. The scene shows people gathered around a radio set, reflecting how the communication technology of the time brought news and entertainment to travelers at sea. A camera with a flash attachment in 1931, the equipment made it possible to photograph in low light, expanding the possibilities of recording indoor and nighttime scenes, and represented an important advance in the photographic technology of the time. A prototype of an Apple telephone with a touch-sensitive screen, 1983. The device was part of the company's early experiments with touch interface technology long before the commercial launch of smartphones. Mongolian Shaman, 1909. The image shows a practitioner of traditional spiritual rituals of Mongolia wearing characteristic ceremonial clothing and accessories, preserving knowledge and practices passed down through generations. A geisha wearing a Western-style swimsuit, Japan, around 1900. The image records an unusual moment when elements of Western fashion blend with traditional Japanese culture in the early 20th century. A motorcycle adapted as an ambulance in the early 1900s. The vehicle had a structure for the rapid transport of patients or the injured, offering agility in places where larger cars had difficulty reaching. Workers building a railroad in the Cascade Mountains in Washington in 1885. The image shows teams performing heavy tasks in mountainous terrain, part of a project that helped expand transportation and trade connections in the region during the 19th century. Maya women on the Yucatan Peninsula around 1952. They wear the traditional garment called the huipil, characterized by light fabrics embroidered with colorful designs that preserve cultural and artisanal patterns passed down through generations. The 1920s and 1930s are often associated with flapper dresses and Hollywood glamour. During the day, dresses remained the main choice of women's clothing, but they were not the only option used. Flappers were the talk of the town in 1921. The term referred to young women who adopted a modern style for the time with shorter dresses, haircuts such as the bob, and attitudes that challenged traditional social standards. A view of Main Street in the town of Deadwood in Dakota Territory in 1877. The image shows the main street in a setting typical of frontier towns of the time, with wooden buildings, businesses, and the movement of residents and visitors. Seth Bullock, United States Marshal, pioneer, and Sheriff of Deadwood, 1849 to 1919. Known for his firm sense of justice, he helped keep order in the town during the turbulent times of the Black Hills Gold Rush. Geronimo Apache leader, 1886. Recognized for his resistance to expansion into indigenous territories, he became a symbolic figure of his people's struggle to preserve their land and culture. Martha Calamity Jane, a pioneer and expert markswoman and a storyteller. A legendary figure of the Old West, she became known both for her skill with firearms and for her adventures and accounts that blended facts and legends. Harry Sundance Kid Longabaugh, an outlaw bank and train robber, a member of the Wild Bunch 1867 to 1908. He is remembered for his actions alongside Butch Cassidy and for becoming a legendary figure of the American Old West. Riding a penny-farthing bicycle in Battersea, London, 1934. The image shows the model characterized by the large front wheel and small rear wheel, popular in the late 19th century and still used for recreation and nostalgia in the following decades. Newcastle Castle in 1895 and in 2022, Newcastle upon Tyne, England. The comparison shows the medieval structure preserved for more than a century, highlighting its historical importance and the contrast between the urban landscape of the late 19th century and the modern city today. A Girl, a Dog, and a Mule, a scene from the 1921 silent film Through the Back Door, starring Mary Pickford. The production was part of the golden age of silent cinema, with moving, expressive stories told without spoken dialogue. A look at Paris 101 years ago. The image offers a historical record of the city, showing its architecture, streets, and atmosphere in the early 20th century, preserving a visual portrait of a past era. A Prettiest Legs contest held in Paris, France in 1948. The event brought participants together for a competition focused on the aesthetics and fashion of the time, attracting the public and photographers interested in post-war trends. Emperor Hirohito of Japan inspects an area or official event. The image records a moment of observation and oversight of formal activities, reflecting the ceremonial and representative role of the emperor. The largest ancient mosaic in the world, discovered in Antakya, Turkey, during the construction of a hotel. The work was created at the end of the Roman period and presents artistic details that remained preserved for centuries, revealing cultural and aesthetic aspects of the time. Immigration agents discovered Felipe Ramirez Perez, approximately 5 feet 11 and 3/4 inches tall, trying to enter the United States hidden inside a car. The case drew attention for the unusual method used to try to cross the border. A giant cedar tree in Stanley, British Columbia in the year 1897. The image shows a person next to the trunk, highlighting the impressive size of the tree and the natural richness of the region at the end of the century. The day candy rationing ended in England 1953. The occasion marked the end of restrictions imposed during and after the Second World War, allowing children and adults to buy sweets freely again. A ride back home after the Woodstock Festival, 1969. The image represents the free and communal spirit of the event, which brought together hundreds of thousands of people in a cultural landmark of music and the youth movement of the time. Inhabitants of St. Kilda in the Outer Hebrides, Scotland, in 1926. The islands had been inhabited since antiquity, but would be evacuated in 1930, marking the end of an isolated community with traditional ways of life. Raising a baby meant boiling diapers, 1943. The image shows a mother in the kitchen carrying out the cleaning process, a common practice before the advent of disposable diapers, ensuring the baby's cleanliness and health. The Happiest Man in China, photographed in 1901 by British anthropologists who decided to document the local population. Not knowing that photographs were treated as something formal, at the time the subject chose a playful pose, resulting in a spontaneous and unusual record for the period. 50,000 scented books at the Lorraine Public Library in Lorraine, Ohio. In 1971, the initiative consisted of applying fragrance to the copies as part of a special project, creating a different sensory experience for readers who visited the place. Taj Mahal, Agra, India, 1960. The image shows the famous white marble mausoleum built in the 17th century, recognized as a World Heritage Site by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. The record preserves the beauty and symmetry of the work, one of the most visited and admired architectural landmarks in the world. Donald Sutherland with his son Kiefer in 1970. The photo records a family moment between the Canadian actor and his son, who would also become a renowned film and television actor. Humphrey Bogart with his son Stephen in 1952. The image shows a family moment of the famous Hollywood actor, known for his iconic roles in classic American cinema. Senator John Fitzgerald Kennedy with his daughter Caroline in 1958. The image shows a family moment of the future President of the United States captured before his election to the presidency in 1960. Hugh Hefner poses with some of the employees known as Playboy Bunnies at one of the Playboy clubs in the United States in 1962. The image records part of the entertainment and hospitality concept created by Hefner, which combined live music bar service and a striking visual identity. When the Little Store Was Your Favorite Store, Lincoln, Vermont, 1940. The image shows a local business that served as a community gathering place, offering everyday goods and preserving the welcoming atmosphere characteristic of small towns. A woman photographed in front of a painted screen that covered destroyed buildings, Warsaw, 1946. The scene shows a device used to disguise the city's damage after the conflict, allowing portraits with a more harmonious background amid the reconstruction process. Children playing in Central Park with the Sirkin Mansion in the background, New York, 1910s. The image shows a moment of children's leisure in one of the city's best-known parks with historic buildings of the time as the setting. Children painting a poster for the anniversary of the October Revolution, 1929. The scene shows young people taking part in artistic activities aimed at celebrating the historical event, reflecting children's involvement in celebrations and civic campaigns of the time. Daddy's Office John. The phrase likely accompanies an image showing a boy named John at his father's workplace, portraying a family moment in a professional environment. A Yakima Tribal Council chief visits his son, Corporal Bill Yallop, during a shooting drill at the Yakima Range in 1954. The image records the family meeting amid military activities. Charlton Heston and Stephen Boyd riding a chariot during the filming of Ben-Hur. The scene shows the two actors in costume for the 1959 epic, which became famous for its impressive chariot race sequences. King Charles III as a child on the balcony of Buckingham Palace after the coronation of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, in 1953. The scene shows the young prince taking part in one of the most significant historical moments of the British monarchy. A man posing with a donkey in his lap in the 1910s. The curious scene shows the animal being held in an unusual way, resulting in a photographic record uncommon for the time. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.